An American citizen gets shot by an ICE agent who filmed part of it himself. We have multiple camera angles, protesters who were there demanding murder charges, and Cory Booker's over here like, but what if we just mandated the filming equipment instead?
We must do more. The tragic death of Renee Good has brought into clear spotlight so many of the things the Trump administration is doing to make our communities less safe. But one of the most alarming crises are issues of training and accountability standards for ICE officers. The Trump administration
Congress just handed ICE $30 billion to hire 12,000 more agents, and this man needs to read the room. There's a specific reason this always happens, and how reform always kills abolition movements by getting you to accept the unacceptable, funding the very thing it claims to fix while giving these terror clowns a bigger budget. There is no reforming these agencies, and any attempts to say there are just makes them bigger and more brutal. And you need to see how this works and why reform ends up always the same way, with a bigger budget for the thing that we're trying to get rid of. And real quick, I'm Lauren Paritra. Please take a moment to make sure you're subscribed. If you are, turn those notifications on. Make sure you've got notifications on. Hype this video, which you can only do on mobile, because I need to maintain my lead on Katie Miller, who is the wife of Stephen Little Bitch Miller, white nationalist from Santa Monica, behind all of this terror. And I bootstrap this podcast. Subbing is free, and it takes all of us to fight fascism. So let's bring it back to January 7th. Minneapolis agent Jonathan Ross shoots and kills Renee Nicole Good 4 times in the face and then calls her a bitch. Good was an American citizen. She was a mom. Her wife remembers her as a loving parent, while protesters pack the streets demanding Ross face murder charges. The whole thing got filmed. Bystanders caught it from multiple angles. Ross filmed part of it himself on his phone while also holding his gun, which is just phenomenal multitasking. We have angles, we have footage, we have receipts. 8 days go by, and Cory Booker drops his big accountability plan. Body cameras for all ICE agents, training standards, hiring requirements. He's calling it best practices and says it'll make Americans safer, which feels like a very weird pitch when an American citizen is dead and the agent who killed her isn't charged with anything. Here's where this gets good. Jonathan Ross isn't some rookie who panicked on day 3. The man has been doing this since 2007. Border Patrol, then ICE, 18 years of experience, military trained, and he was a training instructor. Like, he taught other agents how to do the job. So Booker wants training standards for what exactly? An agent more qualified than the guy who was literally teaching the course? Somebody with more than 18 years of experience? Ross had credentials stacked like a CVS receipt, and he still shot a woman in her car in the face 4 times and called her a bitch. The footage already exists. Ross is still walking free. What problem are cameras going to solve? But let's pull back for a second. While Booker's writing bills about hiring protocols, ICE has added 7,114 new agents since Trump's second term. Congress allocated $30 billion with a B, to hire 10,000 more. Department of Homeland Security is running recruitment ads that look like a Call of Duty trailer. Training got slashed from 5 months down to 47 days, though Ross wouldn't have been subject to that since he's been around for a minute. The White House press secretary called the Minneapolis protesters lunatics, who are part of an organized group to impede law enforcement operations, which is one way to describe people who watched a mother get murdered and said, hey, maybe let's not do that. Booker's bills would mandate body cameras for every federal enforcement operation. They'd ban those accelerated training programs. They'd set minimum standards for hiring. What? So we can watch the horror play out in reals once our neighbors are dead? People cannot afford this time. Time is a privilege communities of color, folks in Minneapolis, folks across East LA do not have right now.
I'm continuing to lead new legislation that will bring further high professional standards and accountability to ICE officials. We must also set minimum training standards. We must ban the hiring of anyone affiliated with hate groups. We must hold agency leaders accountable. We must require every federal officer to wear a body-worn camera during public-facing enforcement actions and require that footage be preserved so that the truth can't be hidden or destroyed.
Look, let's talk about what this 30 billion buys. That's what Congress just allocated to spend to expand ICE. 30 billion, billion with a B. You know what that could buy instead? Universal pre-K for every kid in America, housing for every homeless veteran, free community college, expanded Medicaid in every state that's still refusing it. It could lead pipe replacement in Flint and every other city with poisoned water, but we're spending it on hunting people in their neighborhoods while kids scream. And here's the thing, this money doesn't just evaporate into enforcement. It flows directly into the pockets of private prison companies. And Cory Booker should know this because plenty of them are based in New Jersey. Core Civic and GEO Group, two of the two biggest players, run most of the immigrant detention centers in this country. They have contracts worth billions. They lobby Congress. They donate to the campaigns. They profit every single day with somebody sitting in a cage waiting for deportation.
Let's take ICE again as an example. They have diminished their standards dramatically under Donald Trump. Their training has gone from 5 months to 47 days. Their standards for hiring, whether it's educational standards or even age, have gone way, way down. I've been pushing now for months for us to have body cameras, for us to have an act I did with Padilla called the Visible Act, where they cannot hide their identities and even their insignias. All of this is good legislation and good steps to call for these things. But unless we get Republicans to join us, we're not going to see the kind of progress we need.
So it sounds like what you're saying to me is that ultimately the Democrats are the minority party and they only have so much power that you don't think it's a good idea to shut down the government over one issue, but that rather this has got to go back to the American public, and the American public has to be the ones to put pressure on these individual lawmakers to come to the table, that ultimately you can only do so much, that the American public needs to get more forcefully involved here.
Yeah, this is a test of our democracy.
So when Cory Booker talks about reforming ICE, about better training, about body cameras, he's sanitizing this state terror.
Shame on you.
Listen, have y'all not learned from the past couple of days? Have you not learned?
Learned what? What's our lesson here? What do you want us to learn?
Following federal agents.
Give me my phone back.
He's making it look professional enough to keep the funding flowing. Reform protects this model, full stop. Meanwhile, people in this country cannot afford insulin. They're rationing medication. They're going bankrupt from a broken arm. Communities don't have clean water. Infrastructure is collapsing. 6-month-old babies are getting gassed in their car. People are being evicted from their homes while their neighbors scream warnings. And you want me to believe that a GoPro is going to straighten this shit out? After we've dumped billions into an agency whose job is making neighbors scream, get inside, they're coming? I know the answer, but you have to ask, would any sane person choose this? Would anyone actively choose to fund terror over healthcare? To pay for detention centers instead of fixing their own roads? To expand an enforcement apparatus instead of improving their own quality of life? Or do you think they just hate people who look different from them that much? Because that's the only math that makes any sense. And we're paying for it, literally, while our own communities fall apart at the seams. Every dollar that goes to ICE is a dollar that doesn't go to keeping somebody alive, to educating kids, to building something that actually serves people instead of hunting them. And the private prison companies are cashing checks while we debate camera quality. We don't have time for reform. Communities are being terrorized right now. People are dying from lack of healthcare right now. The money is being funneled into corporations right now. Abolition isn't radical. Spending billions on state terror while people can't afford to see a doctor is radical. We can't afford to waste time on body camera bills and bullshit that make fascism clearer to watch while the system expands and the profits still roll in. We need ICE gone now. We need that money redirected to things that actually keep people alive and thriving. And we need to stop pretending that there's a humane way to profit off of human suffering. One response just cut straight through it. Jonathan Ross was fully trained by several military and civil law enforcement agencies. He was also an instructor himself. Training is not the problem. This fascism should not exist at all and must be abolished. which, yes, body cameras doesn't stop. Body cameras didn't stop Derek Chauvin from kneeling on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes. We watched it in HD. Eric Gardner's death was filmed. Philandro Castile's girlfriend live streamed his murder. The camera still rolled, the footage went viral, and the system watched it all and just was justified. What body cameras actually do give us is 1080p documentation of state violence while the state continues committing that exact violence. Booker's talking about bringing transparency and accountability to ICE, but ICE didn't exist before 2003. The agency is barely old enough to rent a car. It was created specifically for mass deportation and family separation after 9/11 when the government was in its full let's make agencies scary phase. Its job is what we're watching happen in real time. You can't reform that. You can't write a training manual that makes ripping kids from their parents ethical. You can't create hiring standards that turn terror into just nice little policy. The cruelty is baked in. This is where Booker's plan gets really slick. His bill makes ICE seem fixable, reformable. The problem isn't execution. The problem isn't execution, not existence. If we just get the training right and strap some cameras on them, sure, hire 12,000 more agents. Reform becomes the thing we're allowed to ask for instead of abolition. People are in the streets demanding ICE is dismantled and gone today. Booker shows up with these reasonable solutions that sound measured and responsible. He might think he looks progressive, but we see right through the bullshit. He gets the headlines, he can tell donors he's doing something, and Congress keeps pumping billions into an agency that's operating exactly as designed. These bills probably won't pass. They'll sit in the committee, they'll collect dust, but that's fine. Their existence is the point. A Democratic senator can point to and say, look, we tried to fix this while voting yes on funding that thing that makes ICE even bigger, meaner, and more equipped to terrorize people and children. This is the move. Propose gentle reforms while power consolidates. Split movements between people demanding abolition and people who will accept slightly better procedural manuals. Make sure you ask so you sound reasonable to anyone saying, no, tear it down. No, tear it down, then start sounding unhinged. Booker's really good at this, by the way. His Newark mayor's years were packed with corporate-friendly solutions that generated great press and changed nothing structurally. He's fluent in these symbolic gestures, bills that make noise but don't threaten anything real. It's kind of his whole thing right now. Families are being separated, agents are raiding schools, people are getting deported to countries they've left as toddlers, and DHS is churning out propaganda glorifying it all. And Cory Booker wants to make sure agents film it in the correct format. We don't need better angles on fascism. We got it. We need it gone. I'm Lauren Paritra. Again, please make sure you're subscribed. Turn your notifications on. Hype this video if you're on mobile. Let me know what you want to see more of and talk about next, because again, we need to maintain our lead on Katie Miller, wife of Stephen Little Bitch Miller, white nationalist from Santa Monica, behind all of this terror. Something is free, and it takes all of us to fight this fascist bullshit.